I'm 75 years old, and I'm currently sitting in the waiting room of a lawyer's office, about to sign away a $3 million inheritance to a woman I met only 6 months ago. My children think I've lost my mind. My grandchildren are calling me a victim of a gold digger. But the truth is, for the first time in 75 years, I am finally making a decision that isn't a lie. You see, everyone knew me as the Iron Pillar. I was the CEO who never missed a board meeting. I was the husband who stayed married for 48 years. I was the father who paid for Ivy League tuitions and European vacations. On paper, I was the gold standard of success. But 3 years ago, at my wife Eleanor's funeral, I stood there looking at her casket and realized something that made my stomach turn. I didn't know the woman inside it. And worse, she didn't know me. We were two strangers who had spent 5 decades maintaining a brand instead of a marriage. Shortly after the funeral, I had my wake-up call. It wasn't a heart attack. It was a letter. I found it tucked behind a loose brick in our garden shed. It was from Eleanor, written 20 years ago, addressed to a man named Julian. It was a love letter, vibrant, aching, and full of life. It described a woman who loved jazz, spicy food, and midnight swims. I had spent 48 years giving her pearls, safe dinners, and silence. I realized then that my success had built a cage so comfortable that neither of us realized we were starving to death inside it. I decided to change. I started with my son, Marcus. He's 45 now, a mirror image of the cold, busy man I used to be. I went to his office, unannounced, and asked him to go get a burger with me. Just a burger. He didn't even look up from his laptop. He said, "Dad, I'm in the middle of a merger. I'll send you a gift card for that steakhouse you like. We'll do dinner at Christmas." I looked at him and saw a man who was already dead. He just hadn't stopped breathing yet. I realized I hadn't raised a son. I had raised a successor. That's when I met Sarah. She's not 25. She's 68. She's a retired nurse who spends her weekends teaching foster kids how to paint. She doesn't care about my portfolio. She cares that I'm afraid of the dark and that I make terrible jokes. When my daughter, Claire, found out I was spending time with her, she didn't ask if I was happy. She asked, "Is she after the estate? We need to update your prenup, Dad. Think about the kids' trust funds." That was the moment the iron pillar cracked. I looked at my children, Marcus with his mergers and Claire with her trust funds, and I realized I had taught them that people are assets and time is a currency. I had succeeded so well at being a provider that I had failed at being a human being. So, here is the truth society won't tell you. The things you are working for right now are the things that will eventually keep you from the people you love. You think you're building a legacy? A legacy isn't a building with your name on it or a bank account. A legacy is the way your name feels in your children's mouths when you aren't in the room. And right now, to my children, my name feels like a payday. I am Shidem Jishonte Pionte. I have maybe 10 years of good health left. I'm selling the mansion. I'm signing over a large chunk of the money to Sarah's foster program. And I'm taking the rest to buy a small boat and see the islands I told Eleanor we'd visit next year for 3 decades. My children call this a senior moment. I call it the only sane moment of my life. Don't wait for a funeral to realize you're a stranger in your own home. Don't wait for a letter in a garden shed to realize your partner is lonely. Stop building cages and calling them achievements. Go find your Sarah. Go get that burger with your father. Stop chasing a someday that is designed to never arrive. Because the clock isn't just ticking, it's stealing. And once it takes a moment, it never, ever gives it back. I'm going into that office now. I'm signing the papers. I'm finally free. What about you? Are you still climbing a ladder against the wrong wall? Leave a comment. Tell me what cage you're going to break out of today. Because the only thing worse than dying is realizing you never actually lived.